Hello everyone, today we'll be discussing the dark side of Coca-Cola. It's no secret that Coke is one of the most recognized brands in the world, but what goes on behind the scenes isn't always as glamorous as their advertising would have us believe. By selling at this low price, Coca-Cola would lose money on each drink sold. And yet, this decision was truly ingenious. Firstly, in the eyes of the public and especially soldiers, it created a powerful connection between Coke and the war effort. This helped Coca-Cola gain enormous public support and goodwill in the minds of millions of Americans. Coca-Cola and patriotism became inextricably linked, and Coke seized upon this opportunity to run new wartime advertisements showing soldiers holding Coke bottles. But that's not all. Behind the scenes, Coca-Cola had struck a deal with the government to receive funding to help them establish Coca-Cola bottling plants overseas. They claimed it would spread American influence and boost soldier morale, but what it really meant was that taxpayers were helping to finance Coke's international expansion during the war. 64 Coke bottling plants were set up around the world on different continents, mostly funded by governments. In fact, the technicians who installed Coca-Cola plants during the war were considered just as vital as the people who were fixing tanks and planes. And because Coke was now available to soldiers wherever they were in the world, they began to share the drink with locals, further helping Coke's expansion into even more new countries. The soldiers were so grateful for Coke sending them a taste of home during the hell of war that they became the drink's most significant advocates. The US military became a Coca-Cola sales force, introducing new people to Coke wherever they went. While the war had a devastating impact on most companies and people, Coca-Cola was expanding faster than ever all over the globe. As of today, there are only 2 countries in the world that don't sell Coke: Cuba and North Korea. The deals Coke made during the war were mostly responsible for the company's rapid global expansion across the planet. The idea of Coca-Cola as a patriotic company that supported American soldiers during World War II is heartwarming, but there is one small issue that undermines this narrative. During the war, Coca-Cola was also supplying Nazi Germany with their product. While Coca-Cola was promoting their support of American troops in the United States, they were simultaneously disassociating themselves from anything American in Germany. They even showed the Coca-Cola logo alongside swastikas and distributed the drink at Hitler Youth rallies and advertised it on Nazi educational pamphlets. Coca-Cola's actions were playing both sides, as Germany was a significant market for the company. However, as the war progressed and restrictions were introduced, many multinational corporations were unable to sell their products to Germans any longer. But the head of Coca-Cola's biggest bottling operation in Germany, Max Kaif, came up with an idea to counteract these restrictions. He got local chemists to create a new drink that was somewhat similar to Coke but made from leftover scraps from other food production, such as apple fiber. This new drink, later named Fanta, became a huge hit in Nazi Germany since so many other drinks had been banned due to the war. Some sources even suggest that Kaif used forced labor from concentration camps to help produce it. What we do know for sure is that at the end of the war, the profits from Fanta went back to Coca-Cola headquarters, and Kaif was promoted within the company. By 1955, Coca-Cola was selling Fanta in many different countries around the world, and, like much of their history, they attempted to distance themselves from what had really happened. Coca-Cola has been around for over a century, and it's safe to say that everyone knows the brand. But what exactly makes Coke so successful? Is it their secret formula that they claim is hidden away in a high-security vault? Well, the truth is that the formula isn't really that secret at all, and it's actually available on Wikipedia. So, what is it that makes Coke so successful? Let's start with the fact that Coca-Cola has a cradle-to-grave marketing strategy, which means that they try to get people to drink their products from an early age and continue to do so throughout their lives. One way they achieve this is by striking exclusive contracts with schools, where they pay the school a certain amount of money in exchange for being the only beverage company allowed to sell products on campus. This way, they can target children and ensure that they become lifelong customers. In addition to this, Coca-Cola produces countless collector's items that are marketed to adults, but are still recognizable to children, such as Barbie dolls, board games, and delivery trucks. They also have a clever loophole when it comes to targeting children in movies. By using product placement in family films, they can get their products in front of children without technically breaking any rules. But why do they need to use these marketing tactics? Well, Coca-Cola has faced a lot of backlash in recent years for the negative health effects associated with their products. Studies have shown that sugary soft drinks like Coke can lead to obesity, diabetes, and a string of other health issues. In fact, just one extra sugary soft drink a day can increase a child's chances of becoming overweight by 60%. Despite this, Coca-Cola continued to offer bigger and bigger portion sizes of their drink and even added caffeine to it, claiming it was purely for taste purposes. This left many people wondering why they would add an addictive substance like caffeine to a drink that's marketed so heavily to children. However, like the tobacco industry before it, the soda industry realized that it's easier to cast doubt on the science than to debate on policies. So, Coca-Cola poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into studies that cast doubt on the connection between soft drinks and obesity and diabetes. For starters, Coca-Cola has a history of funding studies that conveniently don't mention who funded them. Unsurprisingly, these studies generally claim that Coca-Cola isn't causing many health problems. However, upon further investigation, it's been revealed that Coca-Cola spent endless millions of dollars lobbying state officials against sugar taxes and stronger dietary guidelines. They reportedly made deals behind closed doors about donating to certain politicians' campaigns in favor of special treatment for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola also continues to throw billions of dollars into sponsoring athletes and major sporting events to try and create the illusion of a connection between great athletic performance and their product. But their good sense could only stall for so long before the science became too undeniable to dispute. So they began expanding into other drinks, for example, a bottled water brand called Disney. However, this immediately backfired when it launched in the UK, as it was quickly discovered that this expensive bottled water had essentially just come out of a local tap. Coca-Cola tried to defend itself by explaining they run the water through some kind of purification process, but this just made things worse because it turns out they'd accidentally added a bad batch of minerals that contaminated the water. As a result, 500,000 bottles in circulation had to be withdrawn from shops over safety fears. In other words, Coca-Cola's attempt to produce a healthy drink ended up with them being accused of selling expensive contaminated tap water. But that wasn't the worst of Coca-Cola's contamination problems. In 1999, in Belgium, children started becoming ill after drinking Coca-Cola, eventually leading to the recall of all Coke products. France also reported more than 100 people sick from bad Coke and temporarily banned their products as well. The company was very slow to respond to any of these issues and was accused of not taking the problem seriously enough. Then in India, Coca-Cola was accused of contaminating the groundwater with wastewater. Coca-Cola actually admitted they had a wastewater issue but insisted they fix the problem. However, later independent tests still found traces of toxic sludge produced at Coca-Cola's Indian plants, which reportedly has made the land barren, killed local animals that drank it, and destroyed the livelihoods of local farmers. The Center for Science and Environment in New Delhi also announced it found pesticide in both Coke and Pepsi that, when consumed over a long enough period, could cause cancer, birth defects, and severe disruption to the immune system. One woman from a local village told journalists, "Before this company came, our lives were comfortable and beautiful. After the company came, within 6 months, the taste of the water changed." Another said, "When we bathe, our heads swim, it pains, and we scratch all over." Coca-Cola's environmental record continued to get worse. You see, the company also runs bottling plants in several drought-plagued areas, and officials have blamed Coca-Cola for a dramatic decline in available water. This problem was particularly bad in parts of Mexico because between 2000 and 2006, Mexico's president was a man who'd formerly been the head of Coca-Cola Mexico. The president started giving his former company favorable treatment after getting elected, and during his presidency, he gave Coca-Cola 27 water concessions, which many claim allowed Coke to pollute water and even steal water owned by indigenous people. Do you want to know others' dark side of Coca-Cola? Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and see you in next video.